So greetings, people. Well, today's video is going to be on a very useful open source system monitoring tool that is so underappreciated. So this tool that I'm going to talk about today is called Nmon. And I found this a number of years ago when I I was in between distro hopping. And I was also still running a PowerPC Mac with Linux installed because I couldn't afford the a actual Apple disk to install the Mac OS on it. And at that time, everything was going Intel. I'm sitting on a Mac Pro that pretty much killed the PowerPC tower that I had. So what is Nmon? Nmon stands for Nigel's Performance Monitor for Linux and PowerPC and AIX. It actually originally started as a personal project by a guy named Nigel when he was working for IBM. And it was primarily designed for their AIX systems and their Unix systems, specifically their power architecture. So it wasn't really designed originally for the x86 or any other architecture. It was designed originally so that he could monitor the PowerPC AIX systems that he was dealing with. So today it's been open source and it's available on SourceForge and various other repositories as well for PowerPC or the power architecture, x86 and 64-bit, and ooh, that's awesome. It's available on the ARM, Raspberry Pi, and most likely, because I've got Nmon running on an Odroid, it will run on other ARM-based systems. I haven't tried it via Termux on my Android device, but I would not be too surprised I'd be surprised if it didn't work. So this is kind of what it looks like. I'll be actually doing a demo on it of some of the useful features. So it's all incursus based in a terminal. And what makes it really useful in this case, because it's terminal based and because it's incursus based, it means that you have a kind of like HTOP, a really nice visual example of what's going on with your system. In the case of this particular image, this image has your standard HTOP processor graph. So this machine here has 4 logical cores, or 4 logical threads, I should say, and there's the user, system, and weights. And then here is a graph, a visual graph of your CPU usage over time. So you can see where it spikes, where it dips. You can see if over a certain period of time your load is high overall for your entire system. Disk I/O is also incredibly useful as well, particularly if you're running older spinny disks like and if you're running basically if you've got something running in the background and there's so much I/O going on that it just bogs down your system. I've had that happen a number of times. So That's what it looks like. And you can even have it export uh, so that you can use data analysis stuff. Now, I haven't done this stuff. I haven't experimented with it. Haven't quite had the need to. I mainly use it for just basic system monitoring right now. If I were in industry, I would so use this to graph statistics. And yes, it is open source from a single make file. So let's go and take a look at that make file. It is just a .c file. It's written in raw C, and it just, boom, you just compile it, and it's said and done. And there are downloadable binaries for various systems, PowerPC, TARS as well. And there's also, if you're running a Ubuntu-based system or a Red Hat or something else, I wouldn't get it from here. I would take a look at your system's repository and see if it's available there. If not, add a repository. There's really no need to compile it on your own. It's available on OpenSUSE, which I'm running right now. I believe in the base repository, or if not, it's in a utilities repository. On Debian, it's available to you straight out of the box. Debian and Ubuntu, if I remember correctly. So that's a little history on that. Here's the Wikipedia page on it. So now I'm going to minimize that window and hold on to your britches. I'm switching. Let's see. Nope, that's the wrong. That's also the wrong one. Sorry for the delay. Trying to get the terminal up. And it just does not want to seem to show. Huh. So, if it's going to be that nasty, I'll just there we go. There we go. Now you guys can see my terminal plus everything else that's going on in the background. So let me show you what system I'm running right now. Boop, boop. So I'm running on a Dell Precision Workstation 690 because I can't afford nice stuff. That, and I like cores, more cores. And I also want to have storage upgradability. So on this particular machine, because I use this for loads and I have relatively old drives tossed into it, I don't have a single solid state. I do have a non-tendency to suffer I/O death. I've got, I believe, a Btrfs file. No, I do not. Okay. Yes! Sweet. But on one of my systems I have Btrfs, and there's a few other instances where I'll end up suffering IO death. So let me clear this. Nmon, let's get into it. Okay, so this is the main screen for Nmon, and as you can see, I'm a little bit out of date on Nmon. When we were on the website, it was version 16G. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, 16G. Small changes only. Now can cope with 192 physical cores with SMT equal 8 for Power 8 servers. And so it fixes NFS, auto mount data capture. Nothing really big, so not as important. So when you open Nmon, it comes to this particular screen. And you have the option of hitting various keystrokes to change what you're actually looking at. And you can see some of them there. Like, for example, if I do C, I'll get processor statistics. And since I'm running OBS right now, I'm going to be capped at 50% OBS, and I'm streaming some music so that I don't go complete loony. So pressing the key again will make that go away. And let's take a look at a memory usage. 16 gigs, total free, swap space, awesome. So that's at least some of the basic. And L brings that nice funky little graph. Now let's go into the help. Let's see, okay. D. So D gives you the disk I/O. And this is really useful. Like, for example, right now, since I am running OBS, it's currently writing data to the disk. So I am getting writes. And there's some other background activities running around that's using the disk I/O. Now, this is incredibly useful in some cases where I need to SSH into a machine to figure out, oh crap, why is my machine being unresponsive? And usually after a while, I'll eventually get to Nmon and I'll be able to go into this and see, oh hey, it's not because my processors are being pegged 100%, it's because something's writing to my USB drive and taking up all of my I/O and just bogging down the system. So there's that. And which one is that? D. N is useful as well if you want to monitor your bandwidth. And as you can see there, now this one I don't normally look at, I don't load. There's other utilities out there that I actually prefer over this, they just put it in a slightly more usable format. So that was okay. Let's take a look at R. That just gives some information. J, file system. That's kind of neat if I had scroll enabled. And that's one of the downsides. There is no scroll available in Nmon, so you're limited to what you can actually see and your visible area. In this case, I can't scroll down to see what's beyond sysfs, CG group, huge tlib. Warning, some statistics may not be shown, which is really nice. It's letting you know that, hey, there's some stuff that goes beyond what you can see in the screen. So, okay, that was J. And let's see, what's another one that I use? So we did M, we didn't do L. So usually with this I use, ooh, that's a new one. Cool. That's incredibly useful, just in case you're like, hey, am I actually getting the performance out of my processor? Am I getting the 3 gigahertz? What particular step is the cores running at? So that's incredibly useful. It seems new. Awesome. I don't remember that being in, I think it was 14 was the last time I really paid attention to this. I haven't needed to open it in a long while. So, yeah, this is Nmon. Very, very useful. Okay, come on. Ooh. That's cool. It cycles too, so you can get graph, goes to memory, goes back to this, goes into core, and then it goes into graph. Neat. That's awesome. That's a bit more useful, in my humble opinion, than CPU, because, or just this, because this tells you, yes, you've got what your user is pegging one thing and your system is pegging another. Which one do you have to really be worried about? But this also lets you know, am I at 100%? Am I at 3 gigs over all of them? So that's kind of neat. So that was a little bit of a tutorial on Nmon. I hope this was incredibly useful, and thank you for watching.